How's it going, everybody? Welcome to Something to Talk About. And yeah, we're here to talk about Spotted Sylva herself in the Song of Ice and Fire lore. And yeah, welcome. But first, hi, everybody. Welcome to Something to Talk About. My name is Taco. And as part of my Song of Ice and Fire series, I'm just rocking them out, doing 2 a week. And we're headed to Dorne this week. Welcome to Dorne. Spotted Sylva is going to be our first Dorne character, and then later on we're gonna actually cover Archibald Ironwood himself. So I wanted to cover a character from Arianne's storyline, and then a character from Quentin Martell's storyline, and that's what we're doing. So welcome. My name is Taco. I do these all in one big long tank. I do it in a big long tank. I'm sitting in a tank. In one big long take. I don't edit, so stupid jokes like my tank joke just now. Stay in. So I do these in one big long thing, and I look at these cards so I don't get too confused. I'm already getting too confused, and yeah, that's it. Talk about Sylva Santagar, Spotted Sylva, a co-conspirator. Did she tell? Did she? I don't know. Did she? All right, yeah, Spotted Sylva. I wanted to hang out in Dorne, so this week I am, and Spotted Sylva is a very interesting character. I actually did a poll on my YouTube channel of which Dorne character to cover, and it was specifically which of Arianna Martell's co-conspirators to cover, and it was between Spotted Sylva and I can't even remember everyone who was in the poll. Yeah, Sylva won. Granted, Gerald Darkstar Dane wasn't in the poll, but I didn't want to cover Darkstar because he's kind of like a little too big of a character for me to cover because I just kind of cover smaller characters. But yeah, so poll winner, Sylva. So Spotted Sylva. Sylva Santagar, known as Spotted Sylva, is a member of House Santagar. She is the heir of Sir Seymour Santagar. Seymour! No? Simpsons jokes? Okay. The Knight of Spotswood. All these spots. Because of her freckles, Sylva received the nickname of Spotted Sylva. Her friends like to pretend, according to her friends pretend the nickname comes from the fact she is the heir to Spotswood, and the Santagars have a sigil with a spotted leopard. It's probably all of them. She's all about spots, right? So she's got a lot of freckles. Her sigil is a freckled kitty cat, and she comes from Spotswood. Just spots. She's Sylva the Spot. All right, Spotted Sylva. So let's talk about House Santagar itself. House Santagar of Spotswood is a house of landed knights in the Spotswood in Dorne. They are one of the main houses sworn to Sunspear. The Santagars were adventuring Andals who formed their own kingdom way back in the day in Dorne during the coming of the Andals to Westeros. In semi-canon sources, they blazon their arms with a spotted leopard with a golden axe over a per-bend sinister blue and white field. Whatever. They got a leopard with an axe. That's what's important, right? A spotted leopard with an axe. I love it. It's fantastic. Okay. So Spotted Sylva. I don't know what I'm doing here. I'll just get to the next card. So young Sylva Santagar is a childhood friend of Princess Arianna Martell. They were children at the Water Gardens, usually a group of 5 along Tyene Sand, Garen, and Andri Dalt. So yeah, Andri Dalt and Garen, they were also part of the poll, but Sylva won. But yeah, so she grew up at the Water Gardens with all of them and is really good childhood friends with like Arianna Martell, right? Which is why she's part of the rest of the story. So Dorne Martell invites all these families to come, like send their kids to the Water Gardens because it's like a giant public pool, right? In the middle of a desert. So also a cool thing that it does is it forms friendships between the houses that when characters grow up, people grow up, they are closer to these houses that are possibly hundreds of miles apart, but because they went to the Water Gardens together, right? And that's really cool that all of Arianna Martell's friends and co-conspirators, which we're about to cover, known each other for a long time because of the Water Gardens. All right. So Arianne and the Queenmaker Plot. Yes, the Queenmaker Plot. Princess Arianna Martell invites Sylva to a hidden well in Shadystone to be one of her co-conspirators to make Princess Marcella Baratheon the Queen of Westeros. Arianne gathered her most trusted friends in this plot, including Ares Oakheart, the Kingsguard that Arianne was betting. Garen, an orphan of the Green Blood. I almost covered Garen. I was leaning Garen before I did the poll and Sylva won. She stole this spot from Garen. All right. Because I want to cover the green, like the orphans of the Green Blood. They're cool. But this is still cool too. There we go. It finally clicked. So yeah, an orphan of the Green Blood, Andrew Dolt, and Sylva, and Gerald Dane the Dark Star, though he doesn't quite trust him, or though she doesn't quite trust him. He's like the one that didn't grow up with all of them. So he's like kind of the outsider, and a lot of people don't really trust him. Well, Ares Oakheart didn't grow up with him either, but he's sleeping with Arianne. Man. All right. Arianne plans to crown Princess Marcella at Hellholt, where Arianne's Sand's father, Harman Uller, rules. I love the Uller. The Ullers do rule. I love them. So, yeah. So pretty much my entire story here is going to be covering the Queenmaker's plot, but with more of an emphasis on Spotted Sylva, because the only thing she's actually involved in is Arianna Martell's Queenmaker plot and then the aftermath of it. So, yeah. So let's get to it. We're just going to walk through that. Arianne and the Queenmaker plot part 2. Later, Darkstar tells her that this scheme to crown Marcella will not work, and as she is planned, he then unsheathes his sword and reveals that you incite a war with steel, meaning they should just kill Marcella. When Ares and Princess Marcella arrive, Arianne introduces the girl to her companions, and they set off for the night to the Green Blood. So this is actually where we hear the Spotted Sylva's origin for her nickname. She tells it to Marcella. She's like, "Why did they call you Spotted Sylva?" "Well, my friends like to pretend it's because of my origin, but it's probably because of my spotty face." You got a real spotty face, lady. All right. My mouse just doesn't want to work. There you go. Oh, man, nothing but the best equipment over here. All right. They head out for the night to the Green Blood. There they will take an orphan's barge west along the river. Marcella is confused, having been told nothing by Eris, especially the fact that everyone keeps calling her Your Grace. It just confuses Marcella. Like, why is everyone calling me Your Grace? That doesn't make sense. Arianne tells her some of their plan, that they intend to crown her as queen because her brother Tommen is being controlled by evil counselors, evil shenanigans, and also because in Dorne, she is the youngest sister. So following Dorne traditions, she is actually the heir. But of course, King's Landing don't care about Dorne traditions. Like, the Iron Throne isn't in Dorne. Yeah. So that's her kind of crappy reasoning. Like, well, you are the heir. It's like, no, I'm not. And then they're like, well, Tommen's being controlled by evil people, which isn't all wrong. But I mean, who's Arianne and Darkstar, like, they're any better? I don't know. Maybe they are a little better. Okay, so the plot fails as they reach the river and spot the barge that Garen's people promised would be waiting. As they get closer, Arya Hota, yes, steps from the cabin with a dozen crossbowmen. Arianne yells for them to flee, while Dre recommends they yield. So Dre's the first one to say, let's just yield. But Ares Oakheart charges the boat, intent on protecting his two princesses at all costs, because he's in love with Arianna Martell, because she manipulated him, and also, sorry, but she did, and also Marcel Baratheon, who he's sworn to protect, right? So He reaches the deck, but falls to the Captain Hota's long axe, who cuts off his arm. There's a lot of symbolism about his arm being cut off because, like, the arm of Dorn. David Lightbringer has all kinds of fun symbolism talks about that stuff. But yeah, because Arya Hota cuts off Ares Oakhart's arm, it's like the arm of Dorn. Okay, anyways, and more. I'm butchering the whole theory right now, but butchering, haha. So, as Arianne falls off her horse screaming no, she hears Marcella shrieking and Hota commanding horsemen to chase after Darkstar, who fled. Okay, what all did I just say? So, Arianna Martell has this plot to make Marcella Baratheon queen. All these people meet up in order to do it. And then when they meet up at this barge that's going to take them all the way to House Uller so they can crown Marcella, in the barge waiting is Arya Hota with his huge axe with a bunch of crossbowmen, and they just stop the plot right there. Bam! It does it before it even gets going, right? So, yeah. So that's what's it. Arianne notices Marcella is on her hands and knees, in her head, in her hands, in blood streaming down her arm. Then she is brought before Hota, pleading to know how her father discovered what they planned. And the captain of the guard says, "Someone told. Someone always tells." And yeah, that's it. So somebody told. We don't know who told, but we'll talk about it. So yeah, the plot immediately fails, and Marcella Baratheon gets freaking cut on her face, which most likely is from Darkstar. That's the official story. Again, there are fan theories that it wasn't Darkstar who did it, that it was somebody else who cut her face, and that they're just blaming Darkstar, because they do then blame the death of Ares Oakhart on Darkstar. So since they are already blaming Darkstar for stuff, maybe this is one of the things that they are. But as far as Arianne Martell knows, Darkstar did this. But let's get back to Spotted Sylva. That's who we're here to talk about, guys. Spotted Sylva. There she is. So the aftermath, right? Though Doran Martell, the Prince of Dorne, what am I saying? Decides? Yeah, all right. Not to punish Sylva for her role in the conspiracy. She is sent home to her father. Her father quickly betroths Sylva to the 70-year-old Lord Eldon Estermont. Eldon the Elder. Sylva is sent to Greenstone and married soon after. So Sylva is sent away to marry a 70-year-old dude named Eldon Estermont, who, yeah, is way over there. That's why I threw on the Estermont sigil on the profile picture. What do you call it? Thumbnail. There you go. So yeah, so she's also sent out of Dorne to marry Estermont, which is a little like, oh, okay. So yeah. So she is sent to Greenstone and married soon after. As the Golden Company land in the Stormlands, Mark Mandrake takes the island of Estermont during the landing of the Golden Company. It is very likely that Sylva is a captive of the Golden Company. Possibly, right? So the Golden Company kind of bringing over Aegon the Sixth. If you're not a book reader, you have no idea what I'm talking about. Bringing over Aegon the Sixth kind of lands all over that area, including like Griffin's Roost, which Jon Con takes, but they do land in take Estermont, and she is there married to some 70-year-old dude, right? So she is either they are flipping and helping Aegon the Sixth, which is possible, or she is held captive right now. So what's up with Eldon Estermont? I should have wrote it, but he is one of the old men that Doran Martell betrothed Arianne Martell to, because he wanted to save Arianne Martell for like a Targaryen, right? Like a more important, and because she's getting older and she's not betrothed or married to anybody, he had to kind of make a lot of fake betrothals, so she turns them down. So it was like Giles Rosby, who I covered, and then Eldon Estermont, it's like these old guys who she's like, I'm not marrying some old geezer. I'm not marrying this bag of bones, man. No one's going to get that reference. So then Spotted Sylva ends up marrying him, which is funny. All right. So someone told. So here we go. We're going to get into it. The whole point is now let's try to work on the mystery of someone told, right? So I didn't even have this plan. So when I wanted to cover somebody from this plot, so I can also cover the plot, but also give a spotlight on my small characters like I like to do, I didn't realize that Spotted Sylva is actually a lot of people's number one choice for the rat. So, so let's do it. I read a few Reddit posts about people who think, from people I should have said, who think the mole was that. All right, I read a few. I'll start all over. A few Reddit posts about who people think the mole was that ratted on Arianna. Though some think Andre Dalt, or just no one. A lot of people think it's Dalt, but some people just like, no one did it. That's just what Arya Hota said somebody told, but nobody did. That's one. But a Reddit post by Rohan Blackwood makes a good case for it being Spotted Sylva. There are 4 points that are made in this post. Of course, I'm giving you guys the, much more condensed version. So if you want the longer version, go find this Reddit post. Google Spotted Sylva told or whatever. I'm sure you'll find it. And so if you want to hear their full-on reasoning, do it. It was a really good Reddit post. So yeah, that's why I'm credited. Rohan Blackwood. But yeah, so I'm just going to kind of give you the clip notes, right? So under the rules of the mystery genre, which George R. R. Martin borrows heavily, the informant pretty much has to be one of the plotters. That doesn't mean that it has to be. That's just what this person thinks. It can't be some random serving man who overheard something or something Deus Ex Machina solution. We don't get Sylvia's reaction. So this is another big point. We don't get Sylvia's reaction to the appearance of Arya Hota at the Greenblood, but we get all the other plotters' reactions are detailed. Unless they are very good actors, their surprise at seeing Arya Hota is not feigned. So what does that mean? Well, when Arya Hota pops up and he's like, "Ha ha, not gonna happen," or whatever he says, he doesn't say that. Arianna notices everybody else's reaction. Like Andrew Dalt's like, no, and everyone's like, dang it. And then Darkstar's like, murder, right? So the only person who we don't see is Spotted Sylva, but everybody else is going, whoa, like they're all reacting. We don't know if she is or not. But that doesn't mean, like if I was trying to cover, if I was a rat, I would act like I didn't see it. Like you got to be you can act, right? But that's what this person's saying. Because we don't see her reaction, that makes her a suspect, right? Or is another point. So so the other plotters are all punished by Dorn, but Dorn explicitly says about Sylva, Lady Sylva received no punishment from me, but she was of age to marry. Her father has shipped her to Greenstone to wed Lord Estermont. This is a legit punishment, if it's a punishment at all. So, so they're saying that Dorn specifically says, I didn't punish Sylva, although I think it's a punishment. Now, the other point is it seems that the end of the dance that Lord Estermont and his wife, which is Sylva, have been captured by the Golden Company and sent to Storm's End, where Arianna is headed, possibly setting up a confrontation between Sylva and Arianna. Yes. So that's a really important point. So if she was captured by the Golden Company and is sent to Storm's End, once they take Storm's End by Guile, Arianna's going to show up, see Sylva, who's captive. Is Sylva going to say, hey, sorry, I ratted on you? Or is she already working with, we don't know. So there is a confrontation that's going to happen. And what's the confrontation going to be? There's a reason why we're setting up a confrontation between Arianna and Sylva. Is it because Sylva was the mole, the rat? Yeah. So now I don't. Now these are my issues, right, with the theory. So that's all the points they made. And again, go watch or go read it if you want to hear a lot more. They have more details on it. So now I don't quite see marrying an old man who is already has heirs as a quote reward, but for punishment, it is rather a light one. I am not fully convinced, but I do think it is likely that Sylva was the rat. Yeah, I think Sylva is the best choice of being the mole, but I don't think it's like in stone, right? That's what I'm saying. I'm not 100% convinced, but I do think it's Sylva over Dre or anybody else. I don't know why I just said Dre. I didn't forget about Dre. All right. So that's it. And also the idea of like, they're like, oh, and she didn't even get punished. She got punished. She married a 70-year-old man who already has heirs. Her kids won't ever be heirs. And then when that 70-year-old man is dead, you're pretty much nobody. That's definitely a punishment. It might be light for, treason. Like she could have been killed. They could have just killed all of them, right? But they didn't. So that's it. Do you guys think that Sylva is the mole? Do you think it's Sylva who told about the plot? Yes or no? And yeah, that's all I got. So thank you for watching. Click like and subscribe. This is Dorn Week. Show up later in the weeks when I cover Archibald, good old Arch, Green Guts himself. And yeah, tell me if there's anyone you want me to cover. Okay, guys, go eat some tacos. I have no good end for this one, so get up out of here. Peace.